talking about cautions and signs that Nigerians need to know when driving for us to have a safety society. But let's move on to other discussions. The accidents that took place, or the rising number of accidents recently, could they have been avoided? If yes, what are those things that they could have done for it to be fully avoided?
Of course, every accident or crash, as we like to use the word crash because we believe that they are not accidents. We believe accident is a bit elusive. It's something that people just think just happens. Okay. But when it's crash, it is caused. It is caused by something, and of course, it's very much avoidable. Okay. Every crash is avoidable, and I will give you a reason. Okay. I'll give you reasons. There are three major factors that causes accidents or crashes. One is environmental factor, such as the state of the roads. We have weather, and what have you. So many things, that's like natural things. Do you understand? The roads, the weather, and what have you, that causes road traffic crashes. And then you also have the mechanical factors, which has to do with the components of your vehicle, malfunctioning of them, and just has to do with the vehicle components, And then you have the human factor. And statistics have shown that the human factor causes 85% of all road traffic crashes. Okay. Do you understand? And why do you think so? When you're talking about the roads, when you're talking about weather and some of those things, don't you think the human, I don't go call woman, don't you think the human has the ability to influence them? By that, we also have the ability to control them. So when you know that it is raining, for instance, now we are in the rainy season, are you not supposed to fix your vehicle in such a way that at least your AC should be working, your wipers should be okay? Do you understand? So that in case the rain is heavy, you could put on your AC so it's going to be clearing the fog on your screen. Do you understand? And then you also make sure that your wipers are very active. Because without a wiper, how do you see? But you see some people, they want to manage. They don't have money, yet you are risking your life. If you know that your vehicle is not in order, you park it at home. You use the commercial transports that are available to go to where you are going to. I don't know if you understand me. Yes. So you find out that, okay, yes, the roads are bad. And of course, the present administration is also doing their best, both at the federal and state levels, to make sure that these roads are brought back to a good shape. They are trying their best, which is very much visible. But then, if we as humans also know that these roads are bad, what do? We reduce our speed, right? We also try to find alternative routes that will not really give us much stress and follow them. I don't know if you understand me. Yes. So we try as much as possible to understand the road that you are also plying. Some of us, you've not plied this road for a long time. Even if you plied it yesterday, it might not be in the same condition today, but you want to use that same speed to ply this road as a driver. Do you understand? You find out that they too are also, most of the blame is also on the driver and human. Okay. Then you now come to the components of the vehicle. Most drivers, you also know that your brake is not good, but yet you want to manage the vehicle, and then it not disappoints you on the road. When the vehicles give you sign, it's your duty as a driver to always make sure that you listen to those signs and pay attention to them and fix them. Because when accidents or crashes happen, it doesn't just affect you as a driver. It also affects even people that it does not concern. I'll give you an instance. Okay, last year, our theme, even this year, is an extension of our last year's theme. It has to do with passengers speak up. Passengers to speak up against dangerous driving. Okay. Why? Because passengers die more in event of a crash than drivers. You see a driver, let's take for instance an 18-seater bus. How many drivers does he have?
One driver.
One driver. How many passengers?
21. Oh, 21.
18-seater. 17.
Okay, 18, 17.
17. So you have 17 passengers and one driver. Yeah. A crash happened in the first quarter of this year along Iseluko. And of course, you also know that we conduct crash investigations in event of a crash. So we also know the cause of this crash and also how we as an agency should enforce our operations, so as to mitigate on such crashes occurring, And we had that crash along Iseluku axis, Iseluku to Asaba. What even caused the crash? Maybe it's because the vehicle is an 18-seater bus, so 17 passengers and one driver, 18. So the guy had some sort of clash, with a trailer driver, a truck, an articulated vehicle. So somehow, of course, how some of these truck drivers, they are intimidating on the road. Sometimes they try to intimidate you, chase you out of the road and some of those things, And then the driver, wanting to react, because maybe a part of his car was scratched and some of those things, now started chasing the truck driver. He was chasing the truck driver along the road. And this driver had 17 passengers inside. And these 17 passengers, only God knows, how would they allow this driver to be chasing a truck driver on the road? And one thing led to the other. They got to a point that there was a ditch in front, and before he knew it, the truck driver swerved his hands, and before he knew it, the driver fell into the ditch. He affected the vehicle, he tumbled, and there was a crash, and 17 people died. The driver did not die. So you see how some of our actions as humans, this has to do with road rage. Yes, you must speak up. That's what we're saying. You must speak up. When you see drivers engaging in such activities on the road, you should know that your life is at risk. If anything happens in that bus, and let me also tell you, some things happen, it's not really the fault of the driver, but it happens like it's a subconscious act, Once a danger comes, the driver subconsciously puts himself to safety and puts the side of the passengers towards the danger. I don't know if you understand me. So you as a passenger must know that your life is at risk, and you must start calling out the driver. Driver, take it easy, leave him, don't worry, leave him.
Very stubborn. Sometimes when you try to talk to them, they will tell you, now you teach me how to drive.
Yes, then we must try to also use emotional intelligence. Okay. Sometimes if you notice that the driver is not heeding to your scream, mellow your voice, you understand? Try to romance his ego. Driver, don't worry, calm down, okay? So if everybody is shouting, let there be some people in the vehicle that will also use a calmer voice to also do it. Then when you also notice that this driver is also tired, sometimes offer him some rest. I will give you an instance too, and it's also an advice to road users. Also report some errant drivers to law enforcement that are on the road. You see checkpoints, the police, the Federal Road Safety Corps, Civil Defense, NNADIKA. All of us, we have the training to address such issues. Do you understand? So I think a bus was moving from Onitsha to Lagos. When they got to Benin, we have a unit command along Benin toll gate. So when they got there, the drivers complained to our men on the road that the driver has been sleeping and dozing off while on steering, and it has been affecting his driving. So the team now had to impound the vehicle to the office. But they didn't book him. What they just did was to offer him a room in the office there. Yes, he slept for like 2 hours.
Really?
Yes.
So what happened to the passengers?
They waited.
For 2 hours?
Yes. Their safety. So are you trying to tell me that you would rather have a crash than wait for extra 2 hours for your driver to regain his strength, and then you continue your journey? I don't know if you understand, but they got to Lagos. They were very impressed. They were very happy. Some of them even took the unit commander's number. They called him and said, okay, you tried to, our driver, he drove well, he took us to, because you see, some of these drivers, because they want to meet up, they don't rest. Some of them will travel from Abuja to Asaba, or Abuja to exactly, so they don't have enough time to rest. And it's not like, are we the ones to give you time? You'll be the one to make out the time for yourself. And that is why we want everybody to always look out for their safety. There are some certain things we road safety might not be checking on the road. We might not be able to determine how good your brake pad is. I don't know if you understand me, because you are the driver, you know that your brake pad is not good. We might not be able to determine whether you rested well at night, how many hours you slept. But all of these things, because it is for your safety and the safety of other road users too. Even your family, they are dependent on you. So you have to take care of yourself.
Okay, now, before a vehicle sets on the highway, before you embark on a journey, whether private or commercial vehicle, what should the driver and passengers look out for or carry along or prepare themselves with when going on a journey?
Okay, I'll start from the driver.
Okay.
That's what we always preach, you know. It's a standard. It's also a part of the curriculum for driving schools, their manual when they are teaching them driving schools, what they are supposed to teach intending drivers, you know. One, you must carry out what is called vehicle parade or vehicle inspection.
Okay, what is vehicle parade?
Do you understand? It's when you wake up in the morning, before you even start your vehicle, you're supposed to, first of all, conduct that parade, you know. So you start by walking around, checking for unusual signs. Maybe there are scratches, maybe there are things that are unusual. You also look under your vehicle to notice whether there are oil spillages there, are there oil leakages. That yes, it shows that something is wrong with the engine that you also need to look out for.
Okay.
You also walk around, check the tire. Is something inconsistent there? Is it worn out? Maybe it's something that you drove yesterday, but somehow maybe the road that you applied has affected the tire. Do you understand? You also check that the tire is in good shape. It's not expired as well. You understand? Then you now go further. You open the engine compartment. You check for oil, you check for water, you check for your brake fluid. You check for steering fluid as well. You understand? You also check for the gear fluid. Check all these things. Make sure that they are in order. If they are not properly gauged, you also gauge them. Make sure that these things are in order. You also check for the radiator. Make sure that there is water there in your engine. Do you understand? You check for the engine oil. Make sure that it is properly gauged. Then you now check that your side mirror is also okay, not broken. Do you understand? Then you also check that your brake lights are working.
Okay.
Check that your brake lights are working. Check that your headlamp is in order. Because these things might malfunction at any time. You also check that your horn is in order. Check that your brakes are working.
People drive without horn.
Yes. Check that your brakes are working. Do you understand me? Then you also open the boot. Check that your spare tire is there. It's very important. People underestimate the importance of spare tires. We actually call it extra tire because it should be as good as your main tire. It should not be expired. It should not be worn out. It should be as good as your main. In fact, when I even say as good as your main tire, some people's main tires are very bad. They are nothing to write home about. But it should be standard. That's what we mean. It should be standard. It should not be expired. It should not be worn out. It should be very okay. Because in case of an emergency, that is the only hope that you also have in case of an emergency. You might be on a journey that you might not be able to find vulcanizers on the roads, you know, maybe on a Sunday morning or some of that. So when you have your spare tire or your extra tire with you there, it's your hope. Okay. Do you understand? You should also be able to have your fire extinguisher. Make sure that your fire extinguisher is okay. Make sure that you have your caution sign very much available. So that in case of a crash, you're able to put them where they are supposed to. You are able to mount them so that oncoming vehicles or vehicles coming behind will also know that this vehicle is not okay. It is, it's hazardous. You know, and they are able to take, be aware, you know, and take caution. You know, that's why it's called caution sign. Okay. You know, then when you must have also checked some of these things, you also check that that thing that empowers you to be a driver, which is your driver's license, is okay and active and valid, sorry.
Okay.
That it is not expired. Check that your vehicle papers are not also expired. When you are checking these things, you keep yourself also in check.
Am I okay?
Yes.
Did I sleep well?
Yes.
Am I eating?
Yes.
Am I taking water? Kind of. Okay.
Do you understand? So when you must have done some of these things, then you say that all of these things checks out, you can start your vehicle. When you even start your vehicle, you also check for unusual sounds in your vehicle. Okay. Are you hearing some sounds that gives you a signal that something is wrong? Okay. Then it might be a sign that you should visit your mechanic and make sure that this thing is corrected. Okay. Do you understand? Then as a passenger, check out for the basic things. Check out for tire, very important. Before you enter a vehicle, check out that tire is good. In fact, sometimes I even go as far as asking the driver to put on his wiper because of my experience. I had an experience sometime last year. I went to Oka. I had the thing, it's official. I went to Oka, but unfortunately, it rained here in Asaba, so before I could leave, it was almost late. It was around maybe 4:30. I went to Onitsha, boarded a vehicle to Oka. Before the vehicle could get filled up and all of those things, it was almost late. In fact, I regretted because I don't like night journeys. Yes, I don't like it. In fact, we preach against it. It's not nice at all. But because it was very important, and I had no option, Okay. So while we were on the road, it now started raining in Oka as well. Okay. So driver was trying to act like he doesn't know that he should put on his wiper. I'm like, driver, put on your wiper now. I said it the first time, driver, no, he was still driving with his headlamp. Then it was not that heavy. I said, driver, please put on your wiper. That was when he now announced to us that he doesn't know that the thing is not coming on. The thing just started today. And of course, it was not a rainy season. So he didn't know that rain would fall that day. It was around maybe March or so. That was it. And I was like, you don't have a wiper. And the rain has now become very heavy on the road. I had to subject him to park. Because if you continue moving, you are putting my life at risk. I don't know if you understand. I had to subject him to park by the road, by the shelf of the roadside. You understand? And then I also told him to put on his hazard light so that at least vehicles coming behind would know that this vehicle has an issue.
Yes, because I wanted to ask, wouldn't that be also very risky coming on the highway?
The truth is, you look out for where it is safe.
Okay.
Do you understand? On the shoulder of the road, where it is safe. That's where you can park. You understand? Because it was an express. There was really, and I was not conversant with the road. There was really nowhere there to park. So you just had to pull out, and we waited to when it was okay and fair. The weather was a bit fair. We had to continue with the journey. It took about like 30 minutes. But at least we got there safe. Do you understand? So most times when I'm entering any transport, I always tell them, please make sure that your wiper is okay. You have the right to inquire. You have the right as a passenger to speak up. And whereby you are in transit and you realize that the driver is behaving in a manner which is not good and is going to affect your safety, you can also speak out. Like I said, you can either caution him, speak to him wisely and respectfully. Do you understand? Or you can report to the nearest checkpoint you see there, whether it's the military or paramilitary. They have the training to address such issues.